and be prepared for our press conference. We appreciate everyone being here. My name's Gary Abbott with USA Wrestling. I'll be moderating this press conference. We're going to introduce a few speakers, and then at the end we'll have the athletes available for one-on-one interviews. We're also going to have some photo opportunities. We're asking each athlete in the USA-Russia duel to come up and shake hands in a traditional wrestling handshake, and they'll pose together for photos. That'll come in a little bit later at the press conference. So let's get started. This is the press conference for the 2012 ASICS Beat the Streets Gala, which will be taking place in historic Times Square tomorrow. Wrestling actually starts at 1 o'clock with one of the Olympic trials matches. Our main card starts around 6. At 3 o'clock we have high school and junior high Beat the Streets youth matches. So if you're in Times Square tomorrow, you're going to see great wrestling all day long. But we're here to talk a little bit about the USA-Russia dual meet and freestyle wrestling. And we have both teams here to meet you. I'd like to thank Gallagher's for hosting us here in this historic setting. This is a great place for sports in New York City, and we're real proud to bring our Olympic wrestlers here. Last year, the United States wrestled Russia in Times Square in a dual meet for wrestling. It was the first sporting event ever held in Times Square, and it was a great success. And this year, we're able to return with another USA-Russia match. They're the two top nations in the world in wrestling. So once again, the pride of the world will be on stake. And we'll also have some other special activities that we didn't even have last year. As you know, this year is the Summer Olympics in London, and we're going to have a wrestle-off for one spot on the American freestyle wrestling team at 60 kilos. 3 great athletes will be wrestling, with only one of them earning the chance to go and represent our country in London. Those 3 athletes are Sean Bunch, Reese Humphrey, and Coleman Scott. They still have weigh-ins this evening, so they won't be joining us here. But tomorrow they'll be center stage along with the wrestlers who are going to be involved in the dual meet. We also have a women's exhibition match. Would like to announce that we did have a freestyle match at 74 kilos, which will not be held tomorrow. Kyle Dake against Matt Gentry. There was an injury in training, so that match will not happen. But we do have our women's match with Helen Maroulis going against, at 55 kilograms, Helen Maroulis, our world team member, will be wrestling in the women's match, and we have a whole card full of youth matches that'll be going on as well. But I'd like to kick off our press conference by introducing a local wrestling hero who represents ASICS America. ASICS is sponsoring the activities this weekend and is also the host here for our press conference from Deer Park, Long Island. Representing ASICS is Nick Gallo.
Thanks, Gary. Rich questioned that local hero stuff, so I guess it's not so local. But ASICS embraces its relationship with wrestling so much it controls a 60% market share in the entire world. And the 2 teams that will be competing against each other tomorrow, both ASICS team contracted athletes. So we're real happy to be here, be able to sponsor this. We're providing over $15,000 worth of equipment to give to both the 2 teams. And Beat the Streets program. The Beat the Streets program is another thing that we're happy to have a great relationship with, because of what they do for inner city kids and how hard they work at this event each year. Last year was a great success. I'm sure this year is going to be the same way. So thank you very much for being here at this press conference. I'm not going to keep this long, and try to enjoy the event tomorrow. Thank you.
Well, speaking of legends, our next speaker is really considered a legend within wrestling and someone that we take great pride in having part of our program. He's been the driving force between the Beat the Streets Gala, all the great wrestling we've had in the last few years outside here in New York City. And he also serves as the team leader for our freestyle Olympic team. And he can tell you a little bit about why this event is held every year and and the importance of bringing the best wrestlers in the world together to help promote youth wrestling. That would be Mike Novogratz. Mike?
Thank you all for coming. This is always an exciting time for Beat the Streets. We started the organization about 7 years ago, and early on realized there was not a lot of wrestling culture in New York City. We didn't have uncles that had wrestled or cousins that had wrestled, and there was about 20 schools that had wrestling programs and none very competitive. And so the very first benefit, we said, let's bring some of the wrestling culture around the U.S. into the city. And we started this tradition of throwing big parties, and it's something I like to do. And so we started throwing big parties and bringing the John Smiths and the Tom Brands and America's greatest wrestlers into New York to inspire our coaches, inspire our staff and our athletes. A few years back, we said, you know what, let's add wrestling to it. And we had an event on the USS Intrepid, which went great. We had a bunch of scrimmage matches on top of an aircraft carrier, which was just a great setting to have wrestling. And then we decided, how can you top that? And last year we figured we would have a match in the middle of Times Square. The real idea is this is a sport that I think is one of the best sports in the world, and we're trying to inject energy into the sport. And there's no better place, I think, in the world to get the symbolism of energy than the middle of Times Square with all the lights and all the electricity and all the action. And last year the wrestlers came through and provided just awesome combat, and the fans loved it. And people passing on double-decker buses were looking out off the buses and watching, and through the McDonald's windows and out the Morgan Stanley office building. And so an Olympic year, we said, all right, how are we going to do this? We thought this is a wonderful way where we can honor our new Olympic team. 6 of the 7 have been picked. We can bring the East Coast fans that didn't get to go to the Olympic trials that last trials match. And for those who were there, watching the winner is pretty exciting, and watching the loser is just excruciatingly painful. But it's a drama of 15 to 20, 25 years of hard work being played out right in front of your eyes, and that's exciting. And we're glad the Russians showed up. They are the predominantly best team in the world for the last few years, and we're working really hard to change that. And we're looking forward to really a great event. Beat the Streets is about bringing wrestling opportunities and the wrestling culture to the underserved in urban areas. We now have 120 teams, 110-ish teams in the New York metropolitan area. We've started, there have been Beat the Streets programs started in 13 or 14 other cities, some small, some big. And so the idea of bringing wrestling to the urban culture is starting to take off. It's a tremendous amount of work. Progress is slow, but like in most wrestling mindsets, we're kind of grinding it through and getting a little better each day. And so I want to welcome you all to New York. We're going to try our best to have great weather and a great event, and thank you very much.
Also here to speak with you, representing USA Wrestling, to talk a little bit about the importance of this event, also something about the Olympic Wrestle-Off, as well as how much being here in New York means to the sport of wrestling, is USA Wrestling's Executive Director, Rich Bender.
Thanks, Gary, and again, welcome. I'd be remiss if I didn't take this opportunity to Mike, thank you for your leadership and vision. You've changed the face of wrestling in our country, and many people don't know this, but wrestling was able to put a program together a couple years ago that's going to provide the most significant gold medal bonus in the history of Olympic sport, where our wrestlers from the United States that win a gold medal will receive a $250,000 bonus from a group of contributors that Mike's put together. And Mike's vision with the Beat the Streets program, as he said, has really changed the face of wrestling, bringing wrestling to the urban area, which is, we think, a frontier for our sport. Again, I'd also like to echo the thanks to the Russian team for for being up for coming over and wrestling in such a unique environment on Times Square, and certainly a heartfelt thanks to our team for also being willing to lay it on the line at this really important time prior to the Olympic Games. And as you, Gary mentioned, we will also be hosting a wrestle-off for the last spot on the U.S. Olympic team at 60 kilos. Where Coleman Scott and we'll wrestle Reese Humphrey tomorrow afternoon, and the winner will go 2 out of 3 against Sean Bunch for the spot on the Olympic team. And we've said this a lot, but the most purest pursuit in all sport is an American wrestler trying to win a gold medal for his country, not motivated by fame or fortune, but just that innate desire to be the very best in the world. And you'll see that drama tomorrow night. I mean, for someone that's been around the sport a while, I really don't like it because of what it means to those athletes that don't reach their goals and their dreams because of the effort and energy that goes into just getting to that spot. So one thing I will assure you, tomorrow evening will be worth your while to get out and see the 2 best teams in the world compete in probably the most unique environment in the world, in arguably the most important city in the world. So come on out tomorrow, and I promise you, it'll be worth your while. Thank you.
Before I start introducing our coaches and athletes, just a little bit of housekeeping. The question everyone had in regards to whether we have a plan for inclement weather. Yes, we do. The event will go on as scheduled. We will move it inside to the Roseland Ballroom. But we don't say the word you wanted to ask about. It's not going to happen. We're going to have a great outside activity tomorrow. But tomorrow there will be wrestling, regardless of the weather, and we're looking forward to presenting it, the full card and program that you have in front of you on Thursday. So, in addition, I'd like to do some introductions of people I won't bring up to the podium. We have 2 members of the Olympic team who are here today who are not participating in tomorrow's competition. They're preparing for other events later this summer and getting ready for London, but they're here to support their team, and they're also available for individual interviews after we're done. I'd like to introduce our 84-kilogram Olympian, Jake Herbert. Jake, could you stand up so they know who you are? I think they do. And then also at 96 kilograms, wrestling at the Olympic Games for the United States, Jake Varner. Feel free to say hello to them, and they'll tell you all about their Olympic journey. They're getting excited about going to London and winning us a gold medal. So we have a number of coaching staff and medical staff members here with Team USA. We're going to introduce National Coach, Coach Jones, but I'd like the other coaches and people as part of our delegation for Team USA to please stand up. I would like everyone to know who's here. Coach Manning, Daryl, please, everyone. They also are available to speak about what's going on with the team here in New York. So from that, I would like now to introduce the 2 coaches that are involved in tomorrow's dual meet. We will bring up first our guest coach who comes in from Russia. He can tell you a little bit about the team that's going to be competing tomorrow. His name is Christakis Alexandridis, and we're going to have Harris Kalafanos, who speaks a bunch of languages as well, to be here and help give the full discussion of what Coach Alexandridis is going to say. So.
Again, we would like to say a big thank you for everybody that made it possible for the Russian team to be here. He would like to give a big thank you to Paul Kiblitz, to Pete Isaias, to USA Wrestling, Mitch Hall, Zeke Jones, and of course Mike Novogratz, that without his contributions, things wouldn't be possible for them to be here. Yeah. On behalf of Russia and the Russian team, they're impressed that you know, the Americans are able to organize a wrestling event in the heart of the world as they consider it back home. So they're really impressed about it. And again, a big thank you to everybody that was involved and helped this make happen. And again, he believes that it's very, very important for the sport of wrestling to receive such a media exposure in the city. He hopes the best for both teams for the Olympic Games. He truly believes that Zeke Jones and the rest of the team has done an excellent work, and there will be medals coming to the United States in regards to wrestling. He doesn't know exactly how many medals, and that's up to God. So again, we'd like to thank everybody for making this possible.
I'd like to introduce the coach for the United States freestyle program, himself a world champion, Olympic medalist, and our national freestyle coach, Zeke Jones, to talk a little bit about his team and also about the importance of this competition to the program. Coach Zeke Jones.
Thanks, Gary. Just, you know, really the reason we're here, as we know, is the opportunity to support and honor the Beat the Streets program. Right now, we're taking kids off the streets, helping them get educations, and through the vehicle of wrestling, we're able to help kids in the city, and not just in New York City, all over the country. And we're hoping that we'll have some Olympic medalists coming out of that program shortly. The greatest sports rivalry in the world is USA versus Russia. We've grown up with it through our entire lives. You know, the Miracle on Ice, as we know, was something that's very big. And I know we, as a team, we talk about it all the time. Russia's won 48 team world championships. America's won 2. And, you know, that's our goal. That's where we want to get. That's what we talk about every day. That's what we train for every day. And we're pretty excited about the opportunity. Like I've said before, we have the Olympics coming up in 9 weeks, but right now we're not focused on the Olympics today. We're focused on beating Russia in Times Square tomorrow night, and we've put a lot of time and energy into that. It'll be the only time that the Olympians wrestle on American soil before the Olympic Games, and so we're excited about the opportunity to represent our country in America and to show you some of our Olympians and their preparation for the Games. As you also know, too, our 60-kilo wrestle-offs is a big thing. You know, we have our Olympic team set except at 60 kilos, and you know, a lot of people ask me about it. Wow, 60s, it's been a struggle getting qualified, and you know how well can the 60-kilo guys do at the Olympic Games when it took them so long to qualify. Well, I'll tell you this: I have more confidence in 60 kilos as much as any weight class we have on the team, and why? Because of the struggle they've had to go through. I've watched in their faces, in their competitions, in their training, that it's been a challenge, but it's survival of the fittest. That they are weathered through the process of getting the weight class qualified, to wait to this point to wrestle off. And I can't tell you how good the attitudes are of Coleman Scott, Sean Bunch, and Reese Humphrey. The attitudes have been excellent, and so I think we're in a great spot where we can. We're gonna do well at 60 kilos at the Olympic Games. As you know, the Olympic Games is a life-changing experience. Watching people go through it, their lives will never be the same. You know, of course, on our program, we have returning medalists in Burroughs and Delagnev, and along with Olympians Hayes, Winkle, and Frere, leading the charge tomorrow. We're excited about that. This Russian team, and a lot of people talk about them, who they brought. Make no mistake, this is a very, very good team. very good team. We're not looking past anyone in their squad. They have 2 world champions in their weight class, in their squad at 84 and 96 kilos. They have a very, very good team, and so we have to be on our A game tomorrow, and you know that's our plan and will be. So other than that, I don't have a lot really to say. I know Russia's, I talked to Christakis, and they have a very good team going to the Olympic Games. I think they believe they can win 3 or 4 or 5 Olympic gold medals. Of course, we're going to have something to say about that when we get to London, but we're real excited about the opportunity to wrestle them tomorrow. We appreciate all you coming out. Of course, let's pray for good weather. And, you know, on behalf of the United States Wrestling Team, thanks for coming. And Christakis, we appreciate you and your team coming, and we look forward to wrestling you guys tomorrow. Thanks.
We're going to start doing a few photo ops, so I'd like if Coach Christakis could come up again. In wrestling, we have traditional handshakes before each match, and we're going to have both coaches, they'll shake hands and pose for a photo. We're going to do this with every weight class, so you get to meet the athletes. So if Coach Christakis could come back up and shake hands with Coach Jones and pose for a couple of pictures, that's what we're going to do with each weight class as well.
Okay. Don't put that picture of him grabbing my leg in there.
Okay, now we're going to get a chance to meet all the athletes. They're going to come up for a handshake as well. Obviously, they'll also be available for interview. So, U.S. guys, Russian guys, put your warm-ups on, please. We're going to go weight class order, and I'd like to, we're going to first introduce the American athlete, and then invite our Russian opponent to come up, and we'll do the same thing all the way up the lineup. These are the guys that are going to be competing tomorrow in Times Square with pride at stake, and also looking to go home with an edge heading into the Olympic Games. So. Let's start at 55 kilograms. For the United States, he hails from Florida, was a star for the University of Oklahoma, and is a member of the 2012 U.S. Olympic team. This is Sam Hazelwinkle. His opponent from Kazoo, Russia, is a Urian Grand Prix bronze medalist, Artas Sana. That's good. Next up at 60 kilograms for the USA. He hails from Ohio, was an NCAA champion this year for Ohio State, and is a junior world silver medalist, Logan Stieber. And his opponent from Hassevert, Russia, a Urigan Tournament and Fila Golden Grand Prix bronze medalist, Akhmed Chakayev, 60 kilograms. We now move on to 66 kilograms. For Team USA, he hails from Florida, was a star for Oklahoma, and is now a member of the 2012 U.S. Olympic team, Jared Freyer. His opponent from Makhachkala, Russia, World Cup team member, Jalaluddin Kurbanaliyev, 66 kilograms. We move on to 74 kilograms. He's from the United States, hails from nearby New Jersey, was an NCAA champion for Nebraska, the 2011 world champion, and a member of our 2012 U.S. Olympic team, Jordan Burroughs. His opponent from Makhachkala, Russia, was third in the Russian Nationals and third at the Urigan Grand Prix. Kamal Malikov, 74 kilo.
On the way. Oh my
So now we move on up to 84 kilograms. Representing the United States, hails from Pennsylvania, won an NCAA title for Pitt, and is a World University medalist, Keith Gavin. His opponent from Vladikavkaz, Russia, 2010 Junior World Champion, and for the second straight year will be wrestling in Times Square, Andrei Valiev. We're getting into the big boys now. We're going to be at 96 kilograms. He's from Team USA, a native of Ohio, star at Ohio State, 10th in the 2010 World Championships, Mr. J.D. Bergman. His opponent hails from Makhachkala, Russia. He's in Times Square again for the second time, has won the 2011 Urigan Tournament, 2010 Junior World Champion, Shamil Akhmedov. Closing out tomorrow's competition in the dual meet at super heavyweight. Wearing the stars and stripes, he hails from Texas, won 2 NCAA titles in Nebraska Kearney, was a university world champion and a world bronze medalist, and now member of the Olympic team, Tervel Delagnev. His opponent from Vladikavkaz, Russia, third in the Russian National Championships just a few days ago, Edward Bazarov. At this point, all athletes and coaches be aware, we're going to open this up. Members of the media can go up and ask individual athletes for interviews. Guys, be prepared. We'll move around, maybe go into different spots where there aren't any tables. It's one-on-one interview time, and if you have any needs, see myself, Joe Favorito, Wayne Caton, or Jerry Malak, and we will be able to help you out. So anyway, thank you so much for coming, and we'll see you tomorrow in Times Square.
I'm gonna try to get out of here. I don't know if anything for me, but I'm gonna get back to that way. If I were your weight cut, that'd be so funny. No, but you're not. You're a big man. You can whoop that. All right, I'll do that. Yeah, good job. I'll do the. I was going to get this. Oh, okay.